Here's what most Florida real estate videos won't tell you. A lot of people who end up moving to the Tampa Bay area end up changing cities in just a few years. Not because they bought the wrong house, not because the market has changed, but because they chose the wrong city for how they actually live. And this mistake doesn't always show up right away. At first it feels exciting, a new place, a new environment, a new lifestyle. But once the novelty wears off and real life takes over, that's when people realize they chose a city based on fantasy, not on habits. If you're trying to decide between Clearwater and Tampa, this video can save you from that realization happening after you've already moved. Because the real issue isn't price, it's not inventory, it's not appreciation, it's not alignment. Most buyers end up choosing a city based on how it feels during a short stay, not on how it functions on an ordinary Tuesday in real life. I work with a lot of buyers relocating from the Northeast and Midwest. Some are leaving high tax states, some are retiring, some are downsizing, some are moving for work, some just want a better lifestyle. And regardless of where they're coming from, I see the same pattern again and again. People choose emotionally first. They picture weekends, sunsets, beaches, rooftop dinners, and downtime. They don't picture school drop-offs, commute times, grocery runs, and how often they'll repeat the same routines. That's not because they're careless, it's because relocation decisions are emotional by nature. And Clearwater and Tampa trigger different emotions. They don't actually compete with each other the way people think. They attract buyers at completely different emotional stages. If you don't recognize which stage you're in, you'll almost always start in the wrong place. Clearwater is where most people begin, and that's completely understandable. Clearwater feels like Florida people imagine before they ever move. It's calm, it's coastal, it's visually beautiful without being overwhelming. It feels easy, for snowbirds and second home buyers especially. Clearwater makes immediate sense. It feels manageable. It feels familiar. It feels safe. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel overstimulated. You don't feel like you have to keep up with anything. You can slow down almost instantly, and that feeling is powerful, especially if you're coming from a fast-paced, high-pressure environment. That's why people fall in love with Clearwater quickly. They think, this is exactly what we were looking for. And for some people, it truly is. Here's the part most buyers don't anticipate. What feels peaceful at first can start to feel limiting once Florida stops being a getaway, starts being everyday life. This realization usually doesn't hit right away. At first, everything feels fine. They move in, they unpack, they get settled, the beach is still beautiful, the weather is still great, but slowly, almost quietly, something shifts. They notice their social circle doesn't expand very much. They notice dining and entertainment options start to repeat. They notice weekdays feel very quiet, sometimes uncomfortably quiet. At first, they tell themselves this is normal. They remind themselves they wanted a slower pace. But over time, the calm starts to feel less like peace and more like constraint. Clearwater is excellent at what it does, but it doesn't try to be a city. And for buyers who plan to live full-time, that difference eventually matters. For buyers who still want stimulation, variety, or a sense of movement, the gap becomes noticeable. That's usually when they start looking east. That's where Tampa enters the conversation. Tampa feels like momentum. There's more happening, more people, more neighborhoods, more restaurants, more career paths, more events. That sense of movement and opportunity for full-time relocations, Tampa often feels like the logical next step. It feels more complete. It feels like a place where life continues to evolve instead of staying the same. Emotionally, it feels like an upgrade. People feel like they're stepping into something bigger. And that feeling is attractive. Here's the part most people don't think through carefully enough. What feels exciting on weekends can feel demanding during the work week. Tampa has structure whether you plan for it or not. Traffic isn't an occasional inconvenience. It's something you plan your day around. Neighborhood choice isn't just about vibe. It determines how long you spend in your car, how often you sit in traffic, and how much friction exists in your routine. Commutes aren't optional. They're built into the geography. I see buyers fall in love with Tampa's energy. They love the restaurants. They love the growth. They love the idea of being in the middle of everything. But then daily life sets in. They underestimate drive times. They assume neighborhoods are closer together than they are. They choose areas based on price or aesthetics instead of functionality. And Tampa is unforgiving if you do that. Tampa rewards buyers who are intentional, punishes buyers who assume everything will just work itself out. Another reason people misjudge this decision is cost. Most buyers compare prices. They don't compare ownership structure. In Clearwater, buyers often deal with higher condo HOA fees. They deal with flood considerations. They deal with association rules that dictate how they use their home. In Tampa, buyers often deal with higher insurance costs on single-family homes. They deal with ongoing maintenance. They deal with transportation costs tied to sprawl. Both cities cost money. They just charge you in very different ways. And if you don't understand that before you buy, the surprise comes later, usually after the excitement wears off. This is why I don't ask buyers which city they like more. I ask a different question. It's the question that almost always clarifies everything. Do you want your life to feel calmer or bigger? Not better, not cheaper, not trendier. Calmer or bigger? Clearwater supports calm. It supports routine. It supports predictability. It supports a quieter pace. Tampa supports scale. It supports variety. It supports growth. It supports opportunity. Neither answer is wrong, but they are very different lives. Once buyers answer that question honestly, the right city becomes obvious. The buyers who struggle the most are the ones who say, I want both. And that's understandable. Most people do want both. But here's the reality. Both is possible, just not in the same way at the same time. Trying to force Tampa energy into a Clearwater lifestyle creates friction. Trying to force Clearwater calm into Tampa creates exhaustion. That friction shows up in stress, second guessing, and eventually another move. And that's why people end up switching cities. Not because they failed, but because they skipped the hardest part of the decision at the beginning. If this helped you think differently about Clearwater versus Tampa, like the video and subscribe for weekly Tampa Bay relocation content. And if you're trying to figure out which city actually fits your real life, not just the version you imagine, click the link in the description. Choosing the right city is just as important as choosing the right home. And that's where most buyers need the most guidance.